We will now be reading Little Cockroach by Yi Wan Zhou. And it's translated by, I can't read that name, but Shrai, Kanji Brain, Lily Ocho, and Flurilis. I'm probably gonna butcher the fuck out of everything in here. So, I am sorry. From the bottom of my heart. Alright, so, I have been told, well, I haven't been told, I've just read, that this is a fluffy story. So there shouldn't be anything mature. You can't see my hand right now, but I'm doing the quotes. There shouldn't be anything mature in here, but if there is, I'll just kind of like dash over it a little bit, you know. The summary says, the story between a little cockroach and a hottie. I already don't like where this is going. The tags are Danmei, BL, cockroach, kinky, hot gong, cute show, unrequited love, angst, hurt, comfort. Hot gong and cute show. I don't remember what gong and show mean. There are a lot of terminologies in Danmei that I have yet to come to understand. So you're just gonna have to bear with me. Bear? Alright. So there is one chapter, and then there are 2 extras. Depending on how long this takes, we will read the extras, and depending on how traumatized I am, we'll go from there. The little cockroach peeked at him from over the cupboard. The hottie was doing the dishes as he hummed, splish splash. The hottie even sounded nice when he did the dishes. The little cockroach liked the hottie, so anything he did was pleasing to look at. The little cockroach's little toasted marshmallow face turned red. The little cockroach was a little over 1 year old. God fucking damn it, man. And had only moved to this household 3 months ago. He had no choice. The insecticide the last family used was too deadly. It killed his little sister in an instant. Oh, there we go with the sadness. The little cockroach was very sad, watching little sister get wrapped with a tissue and tossed in the trash. The little cockroach no longer dared to steal food from that household anymore, so he ran away on an empty stomach and came to the hottie's house. I just like how they keep calling him Hottie. The hottie was careless and too lazy to buy insecticides. The hottie's mom used to come over to lay out roach killing powder, but she didn't know they were all expired. The hottie wasn't afraid of cockroaches at all, so the little cockroach settled down. The little cockroach slid down into the trash can under the sink to nibble on the expired bread. The bread that the hottie bought was custard cream flavored, so it was sweet and tasty. The little cockroach liked it. The hottie's kitchen didn't have any insecticides. The little cockroach was so happy. But the hottie took out the trash diligently. If I don't eat the food soon, they will be gone, he thought. The hottie loved cleanliness. The little cockroach got sad. The hottie who liked cleanliness wouldn't like the dirty little cockroach. I was about to say something and then I started coughing, and that's how you know divine intervention was at play. It was like, shut the fuck up, Nero, don't say shit. The hottie turned on the TV. Engrossed in the program, his spit flew everywhere. Are all hotties like this when they watch sports? The little cockroach thought. and proceeded to crawl behind the TV stand to peep on the hottie. It's dark outside. The hottie is going to stay up late again. Don't catch a cold, hottie who doesn't get enough sleep. The little cockroach swayed his antenna in worry. The hottie got up to use the bathroom during halftime. The little cockroach followed. He peeked through the doorway and ran away blushing so big. God. The hottie washed his hands, then put a bag into the microwave. Soon after, a bag of popcorn came out. It's custard cream flavored again. The hottie loves custard cream flavored foods. I didn't know that was a popcorn flavor, but okay. George, would you eat custard cream flavored popcorn? Would you eat that? He's just looking at me, so maybe he would. I don't know. The little cockroach was so infatuated with the scene of the hottie shouting that his little antenna accidentally poked past the TV stand. Let me grab a drink real quick. Hold on. And the hottie just so happened to notice. The frightened little cockroach fled to the kitchen. Shocked, the hottie grabbed his slipper and threw it at him, hitting the little cockroach and breaking 3 leggies. The little cockroach covered his eyes with his remaining feetsies and curled up into a ball. It hurt so much. Me too, George, me too. After the little cockroach felt the object lift off its legs, he peeked through his claws. The hottie had the slipper raised and aimed at the little cockroach. The hottie was deciding whether to slap it down. The little cockroach struggled to climb back up and skedaddled away, dragging his broken legs. The hottie didn't follow after. The little cockroach hid in the cupboard, afraid to go out. His tummy was rumbling, but the hottie was still out there watching games. The trash can was empty too. There was no food to steal. Even though the little cockroach was good at dealing with hunger, an empty stomach didn't feel good. It reminded him of his life on the edge in the last household. After moving into the hottie's house, he was never hungry again. The little cockroach rubbed his flat little belly, then looked at his broken legs. The little cockroach's nose tingled with unshed tears. Okay. The little cockroach heard the hottie turn off the TV to get ready for bed. The little cockroach waited for the lights to go out, then quietly crawled out of the cupboard. Why do I keep saying cupboard? Cupboard. And limped to the living room. The little cockroach found a couple pieces of popcorn on the living room floor, all filled with the smell of custard cream and the scent of hottie's fingertips. That's very specific, but okay. The little cockroach climbed on top of the popcorn in joy. The hottie left this behind, he thought. The hottie went in and out of the kitchen multiple times a day to cook, to do the dishes, and grab snacks. The food that the hottie cooked smelled so nice. The little cockroach loved to sneak crumbs of the food the hottie didn't finish, but the rest of the food was cold. The little cockroach really wanted to eat the warm food that the hottie brought over to the table, just like the pretty lady who always came by the hottie's house. Oh, there's a pretty lady that comes to his house, huh? I smell some tension. The hottie picked up a piece of custard cream cake and said, "Ah, open wide." The lady opened her mouth, he fed it to her, and she smiled happily. The little cockroach was hiding in a corner. This sight made him so envious. The little cockroach also wanted the hottie to feed him cake, but even though the hottie never fed him cake, the hottie did smack him with a slipper. Listen. The hottie never ever slapped the lady with a slipper. How do you know that? How do you know that? The little cockroach was smugly delighted. The hottie did stuff to him that he didn't do to the lady. What the fuck, man? Hi, Gray. No, it's not a creepypasta. It's a Cockroach Danmei. So Danmei is like Chinese BL, I think, is how you would describe. I don't know. It's like stuff for women. I found it. Is this cockroach? It's a BDS. I don't know. Maybe. Excuse me. Let's continue. After dinner, the hottie picked out his teeth with a toothpick and tossed it into the bowl. The hottie brought the bowls and chopsticks to the kitchen, and the little cockroach slipped behind the pipes to hide there and peek at the hottie. The hottie didn't do the dishes immediately. He grabbed drinks from the fridge and went off to keep the lady company. They were probably kissing, the little cockroach thought. The little cockroach clambered onto the counter and stood by the bowl and chopsticks that the hottie just brought in. The little cockroach crawled into the bowl and grabbed the toothpick that the hottie had just used. Huffing and puffing, the little cockroach picked up the toothpick and stabbed it into a crumb of the cake. The little cockroach turned the toothpick around and brought it into his own little mouth, then put the crumb inside. The little cockroach closed his eyes and thought, like this, it's almost as if the hottie fed it to me. The little cockroach smiled happily. Hold on, I need to... I'm sorry, I'm just like... From like holding in laughter, I'm like producing phlegm. I don't know what the hell's going on. The little cockroach was enjoying his meal and didn't expect that the hottie and the lady would suddenly walk into the kitchen. The lady held an empty drink bottle, and when she saw the little cockroach, let out a shrill scream. The little cockroach dropped the toothpick in fear and ran for his life as the hottie chased after him, wielding a slipper. I can't return to the cupboard. I'll get trapped inside and crushed to death. In a panic, the little cockroach crawled up onto the kitchen windowsill and escaped through the open crack in the window. The hottie gazed at the window and said, "This cockroach again? It must have scared you." "You should wash the dishes," she said. "It's bug bait." The hottie said toward the window, "I remember this cockroach. I caught it before in the living room." "That can't be right," she replied. "All bugs kind of look the same." Oh my god, into a throuple? Still gazing at the window, the hottie said, "Do you think it'll fall off? Do you think it'll die?" "How come you're still talking about the bug?" said the lady. The little cockroach laid outside the windowsill. His little feetsies could cling to the wall. The little cockroach felt something wet filling his eyes, swishing around. He'd been shooed out of the house. "Once again, I got chased out. I don't have a home anymore." You like jazz? The little cockroach really did like this home a lot, and the careless hottie who lived within it. The little cockroach was so sad he started crying. The sun set and the winter evening was very cold. Hanging outside the window, the little cockroach shuddered in cold, but couldn't bear to leave this house he had gotten so used to. The little cockroach clung to the window and looked into the room. The room was lit with a warm, creamy yellow glow. Yeah, yeah, it would not be as popular, honestly. Hold on, let me move my mic a little bit because like I'm like raised up on my elbows and like it is not a comfortable seating position. The little cockroach watched enviously as the lady ate the meal the hottie had cooked himself. The little cockroach numbly watched the hottie and the lady kiss as the cold wind scraped against his back. So cold, he thought, I'm going to freeze to death. The little cockroach clung to the window, unable to bring himself to leave. The window's glass was completely transparent, and the hottie's outline could be clearly seen through it. The little cockroach continued to stare and felt as if he had been teleported through the glass to the hottie's side. Oh my god, flying moment. You know, I actually have no idea how fucking long this is, but now I'm like scared. The little cockroach smiled stupidly. A layer of fog slowly began to cover the window, shrouding the hottie's figure. And so, the little cockroach could no longer see the hottie, only a blurry human silhouette drifting about in its hazy vision. After a long time, the hottie escorted the lady out and watched as she left. The hottie closed the door and walked toward the window, still looking as the lady walked down the alley outside and went home. She was visible in the living room's window, then the bedroom window, then the kitchen's window. The hottie opened the kitchen window and stuck his head out, shouting, "It's dark out, be careful." The little cockroach had been frozen nearly delirious before he heard the hottie's voice. He was about to close the window before he looked down and saw the little cockroach nearly frozen stiff. The hottie stared blankly down at him before suddenly hesitating and opening the window a little wider. The little cockroach widened his eyes in surprise, feeling the warmth that had come out from the window. And so the little cockroach stumbled through the open crack and into the room. Gazing at the lights in the kitchen, the little cockroach happily thought, "I've come home." The hottie closed the window tight, then turned and walked out of the kitchen. The little cockroach sprawled weakly on the windowsill. The little cockroach really wanted the hottie to stay and keep it company, but the little cockroach didn't have the strength to get up and could only sprawl limply there. After a while, the hottie came back and pushed a custard cream cookie toward the little cockroach. The little cockroach looked at the cookie, then looked at the hottie, dumbstruck. The hottie said, "Stay here. It's damn cold. Don't crawl all about." The hottie said, "I'll give you some of my food, but don't bring any friends." The hottie said, "What am I to do with you? You just won't leave no matter how I chase you." The hottie said, you clingy little bug. Can you understand?" The hottie said, "Eat this cookie. Are you laughing to yourself? Can cockroaches laugh?" The hottie said, "Hey, silly, you've laughed yourself to tears." The hottie's house was still clean and tidy, nice and neat, devoid of trash and cockroach killer. Before the hottie went to work every day, he would put a little piece of custard cream cookie on the kitchen counter. By the time the hottie would come home from work, the custard cream would be gone. The hottie would look at the cookie crumbs on the counter, then look up at the little antenna that had just retracted behind a crack in the cabinet. He would burst into laughter. He looked so handsome when he laughed. The cockroach dragged a piece of tissue, panting as hard as... Wait, what? What was this? Dragged a piece of tissue, panting as he helped the hottie clean the cutting board. What the fuck? The hottie walked into the kitchen and poked the little cockroach's head with his fingers. The hottie said, "Are you doing chores?" The hottie pointed underneath the dish cabinet. "Look, the cookie crumbs you left behind yesterday still haven't been cleaned up." The little cockroach blushed and nuzzled against the hottie's fingertip, then ran away dragging the tissue. The hottie said, "You sure are a strange little bug." Spring rolled around and the flowers began to bloom. The little cockroach watched the peach blossoms through the window as they flowered one by one. The hottie grabbed a bag of custard cream cookies from the pantry. Where the fuck was I? He was wearing a well-ironed suit. I got a promotion, the hottie announced. I will treat you to 2 pieces of custard cream cookies. The little cockroach was laying on top of the cookie. He raised his head to look at the hottie as he swayed his little antenna and blinked his black round pea eyes. Are you trying to act cute? The hottie invited the lady over to celebrate his promotion. The little cockroach hid under the table, eating the cookies the hottie had given him. The lady's high heels shone. The little cockroach really wanted to sit with the hottie, just like the lady was. The little cockroach heard the pop of the lips sliding against lips. The little cockroach was suddenly so hurt. The little cockroach wanted kisses from the hottie too. Oh. The hottie's mom came over to help tidy up his house, so he could only take a little cockroach's nest cockroach duels with the lady. Fight! Dear, do you usually get cockroaches in your house? His mother asked. Nope, he said while breaking up a custard cream cookie into little pieces. Fight for the hottie! Have you scattered cockroach killer around the kitchen, she asked. Yep, said the hottie while passing the little pieces of custard cream cookie to the little cockroach. Dear, his mother asked, then how come there's so many cookie crumbs around the cabinet? The hottie petted the little cockroach's head and scolded him quietly. Little mischief maker, how come you don't clean up after yourself? It was too hot in the house during the summer. Hold on, I'm sorry, I need to cough. Exactly, that's literally me right now. The hottie picked up the little cockroach by his antenna and carried him into the bedroom. The hottie spread a tissue out on the nightstand. The hottie said, sleep here at night. There's air conditioning. The little cockroach stood on the floor, head drooping in disappointment, and stared at the hottie's toes. The little cockroach thought, the hottie still thinks I'm too dirty. The little cockroach crawled over to the sink and jumped in. The hottie discovered him and lifted him out. Angrily, the hottie said, you'll drown. The little cockroach squirmed, picking up some of the water that splashed onto the counter with his little feetsies and wiping down his little body. Bewildered, the hottie said, so you were trying to take a bath? The little cockroach looked up at the hottie as he scrubbed. His dark little pea eyes opened wide. The little cockroach really wanted to tell the hottie, this little cockroach isn't dirty. The little cockroach wants to sleep together with the hottie. The hottie and the lady broke up on the first day of autumn. The hottie was a very good hottie, while the lady was a very good lady, but sometimes relationships were like this. At night, the little cockroach sneakily clambered onto the hottie's pillow. The little cockroach tried its best to use his little feetsies to wipe away the hottie's tears. The little cockroach whispered to the hottie, don't be sad, you still have me. Of course, the hottie couldn't hear him. The hottie opened its eyes and discovered the little cockroach curled up in sleep on top of the pillow. At first, the sight of a cockroach on his pillow did shock him, but this little thing really was pretty cute. At this thought, the hottie poked the little cockroach and watched as the drowsy cockroach started rubbing its eyes. Didn't I say you weren't allowed in the bed? He said. Dejected, the little cockroach crawled away and returned to the tissue. The little cockroach flipped over to show the shell across its belly, but oh my god. He was washed squeaky clean. A wrong expression across his face, the little cockroach looked pitifully at the hottie. The hottie sighed and tapped the little cockroach's forehead. The hottie said, "What are you imagining in your head of yours? I'm worried I'll squish you in my sleep." I don't know, maybe he's into that. It was another winter. The hottie put on a beanie to... Oh my god! Wow! Before he left, the hottie lifted the little cockroach up by its antenna and rested him on the pom-pom. What the fuck is the pom-pom? Oh, on the pom-pom beanie. Okay. The little cockroach hugged onto the warm pom-pom as he watched the snowflakes fall from the sky. The hottie talked to himself. He said, "The snow comes from the sky. We will all eventually return to the sky." Oh my god. The little cockroach suddenly held onto the pom-pom tightly. Very, very tightly. The hottie built a very big snowman that had 2 thick, dark eyebrows, just like the hottie's. Oh my god. The little cockroach built a very small snow... No! I can't stop now! We're almost done! Just like his own eyes. No, wait. The little cockroach built a very small snow cockroach with 2... dark beady eyes, just like his own. This hottie stood next to the snowman, and the little cockroach stood on the hottie's shoulder. Together they admired their works, one big, one small. The little cockroach suddenly clung onto the hottie's ear, dangling from his earlobe. The hottie started to feel ticklish and huffed out a laugh. He pulled the little cockroach off and placed him in his palm. The hottie poked the little cockroach's forehead and said, "Little troublemaker." The little cockroach rubbed his forehead despondently. "I just wanted to steal a kiss." The hottie suddenly said, "Little bug, I wish you were a person." The little cockroach raised his little face and looked dumbly at the hottie. The hottie looked at the little cockroach in his palm and said, "If you were a person, the 2 of us could talk." The little cockroach also wanted to talk to the hottie very much. The hottie looked at the little cockroach in his palm and said, "If you were a person, the 2 of us could be together." The little cockroach also wanted to be together with the hottie very much. The hottie suddenly furrowed his brow and said, "What if you were a boy?" The little cockroach nervously raised his 2 little antennae. The hottie suddenly laughed and said, "It wouldn't matter either way." The little cockroach stood on the hottie's chest, staring at his handsome face in sleep in the dark. The little cockroach clambered onto his chin, blushing. He lowered his little head. The little cockroach left a soft kiss on the hottie's slightly parted lower lip. Gently getting a kiss from a cockroach would probably feel pretty disgusting, so he could only do it when Hottie was asleep. "Hottie, Hottie, I really like you so much, I don't want to leave you." Beneath the half-open curtains, moonlight spilled in, shining down over the little droplets of water left on Hottie's chin. It shone like a crystal. A year passed just like this. By the time spring came around again, the hottie couldn't find the little cockroach anymore. The hottie looked through the cabinets and leafed through the tissues. The hottie poked through his garbage with a flashlight. The hottie thought that the little cockroach might have gone out to play. The little cockroach was mischievous like that. The hottie went out to work every day just as usual, and still placed a piece of custard cream on the counter just as usual. Just as usual, the hottie wanted to clean up the cookie crumbs every day when he came home from work. But there were no crumbs on the counter. There were only pieces of custard cream cookies piling up day after day. Listen, don't fucking say it! Don't fucking say it! The hottie got into the pillow and laid a tissue out next to his pillow. The hottie laid in bed and stared at that tissue for a while, then closed his eyes. In the middle of the night, the hottie turned over and his hand accidentally fell onto that tissue. The hottie hurriedly lifted his hand and said, "I hurt you, didn't I? I told you not to." His voice ground to a halt. He had forgotten that it hadn't been a long time since the little fellow was sleeping on that tissue. There was a meteor shower that night. The hottie sat on the grass alone. The sight of the little one was missing from his side. The hottie looked at the falling stars above him, then closed his eyes. I heard that even though it's a meteor shower, it can only make one wish come true. The hottie thought for a while, then lowered his head and made a wish upon the stars. The next day, the hottie went out to work. His mom came over again to help him clean. When he came home from work, he sat down with his mom at the table to eat dinner she made. His mother said, "Dear, you have cockroaches. Were you really cleaning properly?" The hottie ummed in reply, but his chopsticks froze in his hand. His mom said, "Dear, I found a dead cockroach in the nook behind your fridge." Said the hottie. He set down his chopsticks. "Dear, you have to be better about cleanliness going forward," his mom said. The hottie looked up and said, "Mom, how long do cockroaches live?" "About 2 years." "Mom, where's the dead cockroach? I tossed it out." "Oh," the hottie said, and lifted a hand to rub at his teary eyes. The end. Well, that's not actually the end. There's still fucking extras. But I don't know if you guys want me to read them. That's what I said. That's what I'm like, damn. Y'all got me fucked up. Y'all got me fucked up. He dies? Yeah, I want to read them. Let's read them. Okay, so the first extra looks pretty short. The second extra looks a little bit longer. So I think you have to read the extras, because otherwise the first... Bonk. I think you have to read the extras, because otherwise the chapter seems just sad as it ends. Okay, let's read the extras. I don't think... Meteor 1 said, "Some person just made a wish on me." Meteor 2 said, "Some cockroach just made a wish on me." Meteor 1 said, "Really? Anything can just happen these days." Meteor 2 said, "It was a cockroach that was about to die. He was hiding, not wanting the person he liked to see him." Meteor 1 said, "That person wished for a cockroach to safely return to his home." Meteor 2 said, "That cockroach wished to keep on living, to live as long as the person he loved." Oh, okay. That makes sense now. Meteor 1 said, "The person that made a wish on me was a good person, so now I'll go make his wish come true." Meteor 2 said, "The one that made a wish on me was a cockroach. The cockroach's family did so many bad things, so I won't fulfill all of what he wished for." Meteor 1 said, "How would you do it?" Meteor 2 said, "I will let him live, but he will never be able to become a cockroach again. He will never feel the happiness of living as a cockroach." Can you feel happiness as you know what? Let's not ask questions. Let's not ask questions. Meteor 1 said, "Then what will you turn him into?" Meteor 2 thought for a moment, then said, "A human. Living as a human is the hardest." After the hottie's mom finished eating, she left. Oh, see, it is a continuation. Okay, there was more. Ooh. The hottie closed the door, sitting on the couch and spacing out along. From now on, there would never be a little bug to share his custard cream cookies with again. From now on, there would never be a little bug to make him happy with his silly antics again. A year which had passed in an instant for him was half a lifetime for him. The hottie couldn't keep getting lost in his thoughts like this. He stood up and walked toward the bedroom. A loud bang came from the kitchen. The hottie turned around and ran towards it. When he got into the kitchen, he saw his pantry cabinet toppled over. A naked young man was sitting on the floor. with an empty cookie package in his hands. The young man saw him. He raised his hands and blinked his dark round eyes, then said sulkily, "Are there no more custard cream cookies left?" End of Extra 1. What happened? Just to summarize what happened in Extra 1, because, you know, there'll be split VODs. The cockroach had was like dying and like wished on the meteor that it wanted to live as long as the person he loved lived. And then the human, the hottie, wished that the cockroach would return back safely. So the meteors were talking amongst each other, and they decided to fulfill their wishes. But for the cockroach, it would no longer be allowed to live as a cockroach. It would have to live as a human, which is the hardest of all, apparently. I say apparently, but so it is. So he just appears inside the hottie's house. And now we're gonna get started with extra number 2. So let's get started. Let me just minimize my VTuber thing here. All right. Sitting naked on the floor couldn't be comfortable. Completely naturally, the hottie reached out toward the little cockroach. The little cockroach gazed at the hottie's hand. Wow, he wasn't a little cockroach anymore. Damn, Daniel. That's the hottie looking at the cockroach. The black-eyed youth nudged his head closer and nuzzled against the hottie's palm. "I wanted to pull you up," the hottie said. Yeah, the young man pulled his head back in panic, forgetting that he no longer had antenna to be held onto. Now the hottie led the young man into his bedroom. Oh dear God. Guys, I don't know if I'm allowed to read this. The hottie was looking for his freshly ironed bathrobe. The young man crawled familiarly onto the hottie's bed, heading for that familiar empty spot by his pillow. The hottie heard the sound of a pair of feet failing to break onto the floorboards, then the thud of something heavy hitting the floor. One of the young man's legs hung over the edge of the bed. The other and his round butt cheek caught under the weight of his body, which had fallen under the bed. The hottie crouched down next to the dazed youth. "You're XL size now. How can you fit in an excess size space next to my pillow?" The hottie picked up the youth and carried him onto the bed, placing him in the exact center of it. Wrapped inside the snow-white bathrobe, the youth filled its arms and waved the sleeves around. The hottie scratched his earlobe in embarrassment. "I couldn't find an iron one, and this one's unwashed, so there might be some sweat stains on it." Oh! The young man brought the collar up to his face and took a sniff of its scent. The hottie moved closer. "Does it smell? Can you bear it?" Sweat stains. With an expression of infatuation. Oh! Jesus, no! Oh no! With an expression of infatuation, the young man buried his face into the bathrobe collar, and started snuffing. Snuffling? Snuffling? "Oh, fuck," said the hottie. The hottie turned off the nightstand lamp. "I want to just talk to you for half the night," he said. The hottie lifted up a corner of the blanket and squeezed himself into the sheets already warmed by the young man. I love lap! The hottie said, but too bad it's only Thursday night. Even though I have entered my weekend life mode, I still need to make sure I have enough sleep to wake up tomorrow morning for work. The hottie turned to face away from the young man. Sweet dreams, he said. No, party hardy now. In the dark bedroom, the young man opened his bright big eyes. Slowly, he inched closer to the hottie's back. The blankets moved, and the hottie opened his eyes too. The hottie heard a soft, low whisper, "Good night." The hottie reached his hand behind him, and when he found that warm body, he held it tight against him. The young man was woken by birdsong. The bedroom was dark and the hottie was already gone. The young man stepped off the bed with bare feet and walked over the window, opening the hemp curtains. Morning's light flooded the room. The young man's face was painted with a layer of radiance. The foliage was lush and the grass was green. Birdsong winding through the canopies. The birds that had landed on the windowsill were pecking at the grains scattered over the sill. The young man wandered a lap around the kitchen, looking at the trash can in which he had once searched for food, trailing a hand over the cupboard in which he had once hid. He turned on the faucet in the bathroom and he ran his fingers under the flow of the water. Then he sat on the couch in the living room. The sunlight in the study room was very abundant. The glass in the bookcases reflected the young man's shape. The young man raised his arms and pressed his palms against that of the human silhouette overlaid across the book spines. The street was busy outside the window. People hustled by. It was a typical morning in the city as people rushed to work. The cars honked. Black and gray leather briefcases passed by with the busy steps traveling. That's what I read. Everything related to the human world was unfamiliar and hard to understand for the young man. He huddled up on the windowsill, hugging his arms in perplexity. That evening, when the hottie came home, the house was pitch dark. When the hottie flicked on the light switch in the vestibule, he saw the young man deep asleep on the sofa, and the book laying open under his hand. The young man was awoken by an itching sensation on his cheek. Then Hottie was leaning down beside him, brushing his hair, which had fallen onto his face back behind his ear. The Hottie paused and pointed at the book. He asked, "How much of it did you read?" "I couldn't understand a thing." "Damn, me too, brother." "I was just looking at the pictures," the young man replied, his face red. The rice cooker emitted the aromas of fresh rice. The steamer was cooking tofu, and the stock pot was blanching vegetables. The hottie had sleeves rolled up, mincing the red peppers with agility. The young man stood behind the busy man, poking his head in hesitation. He finally walked up and asked softly, "Can I help you do something?" The hottie turned around in surprise, then stopped his hands in a smile. Ooh, chorizo! I fucking love chorizo. Make that shit spicy. Then stopped his hands in a smile. He handed over a strainer. "Help me strain the vegetables, then add a spoonful of sesame oil." "Oh boy, this is gonna go wrong," the hottie instructed. The hottie went through the cabinets to find something, then he brought it over to the young man next to the stovetop. The young man felt the hottie's hand raise in front of his face, then he fed a piece into his mouth. The custard cream aroma and crispiness melted in his mouth. "I made this custard cream cookie myself," he said. "Is it sweet?" The hottie spooned the rice into the bowls and snatched away the young man's cookie jar on the way. The hottie shoved 2 bowls of rice into the young man's hands and shook the jar. This was full when I gave it to you. The hottie heard the desiccant rattling around in the jar. Where'd they all go? Hold on. Oh my god, now you're chorizo at work. Hey, at least I'd rather be called chorizo than like, I don't know, something bad. It's not a bad name. I hadn't heard that story before though. Alright, where was I? Where'd they all go? The youth shyly pursed his lips at his belly, muttering, They're all stored here. They're stored here. Stop right there. The hottie stopped the youth from slipping away with the bowls and tugged away the half of the cookie that was still hanging between his lips. I'm confiscating this one. The hottie tossed the cookie into his own mouth. When the hottie walked out of the bathroom, dripping wet, and the young man was curled up on the couch, spacing out, the hottie called out to him from the bedroom, Turn on the TV or come play a game with me. The young man walked into the bedroom. The hottie was removing the towel wrapped around his body. Whoa! I don't think we can show that on Christian television. The hottie suddenly jumped over to the young man and flared his towel open at him. Yahoo! Little hottie, look over here. Really? In front of my salad? Wow! Mesmerized, the young man leaned in. He felt the hottie's chest, then felt the hottie's waist. The hottie awkwardly patted the young man's back. The young man wanted to completely burrow into the covers, but was stopped by the hottie, leaving the young man's head peeking out. The hottie said, How come you only want to sleep? You don't want to play, you don't chat, and you don't have your own things to do. The young man said, I don't know what I'm supposed to do at this time of day. The hottie asked, Then what did you used to do during the evening on weekends? The young man said, Hide inside the cupboards and wait for you to come back. Oh God, no! Do not make the very obvious reference. Do not make the very obvious reference because you're gonna get me started. The young man, I also spent a lot of time eating cookies. The young man, then I could climb all over the plumbing, the toilet room, oh God, and your pillow. The hottie, you would climb all over my pillow after climbing on the toilet? Yep. The young man replied happily. So other than eating, crawling, and waiting for you, there were so many other things I could do in this world. The young man told the hottie this fact he had discovered the second day he spent as a human. So other than eating, crawling, and waiting for you, there wasn't a single thing I could do in this world? Do it again, I fucking dare you. Do it again, I fucking dare you. The gaze the young man sent at the hottie held undisguised. The gaze the young man sent at the hottie held undisguised disappointment. The hottie tried to ask, Do you not know how to live like a real person? The young man replied at a loss, I'm so scared. I don't know how to live on as a person. The hottie hesitated, then asked, Do you want to go back to how it was before? And be a little cockroach that needs only to eat, crawl, and wait? The young man immediately shook his head. Not at all. Then the hottie asked, "Do you want me to be your family and best friend and accompany you for this new life as a human?" The hottie stared into the young man's eyes as he opened his arms. The blanket slid off as the young man sat up. "You tried it. You tried it." I needed like a scarier one, because that one doesn't really scare me. The muscles on the hottie's back tensed, supporting the force of the young man sent as he threw himself into his arms. "Your life is interesting and prismatic, but my life is monotonous. Then I invite you to share every aspect of my life. I invite you to come travel with me as we come and go together. I want to learn to read." You can't fucking take that out of context. You can't take that out of context, by the way. Because that was perfect timing for that. You can't do it. God fucking damn it. I'm not reading that sentence. "Then you will leave the house. You will travel to different places in the city and meet many different people. You will make lots of friends other than me." The young man planned his future along with the hottie. The young man said, "Is being human this easy?" "No, we haven't gotten there yet." The young man planned his future along with the hottie. The young man said, "Is being human this easy?" I already read that. Damn. The hottie said, "That's far from it. If you want to live independently in this world, you still have a long way to go. But it's not something to worry about now, because you are..."
It's the way you're dressed.
Yeah, me. I fucking forgot it does that! Oh my god! Oh no! Oh no! No! I was about to say, maybe it's the way he's dressed because he's technically naked. I don't think he gave him any clothes. He gave him like a bathrobe and that was it. But anyway, "Because you are mine," the hottie said. The noontime sun painted the pair of silhouettes beneath the window in gold. The young man and the hottie were pressed together shoulder to shoulder, hand in hand, holding and leaning against each other. The book was spread open on the young man's lap, and the hottie was using a pencil to underline and circle things on the page. The hottie instructed the youth. The author didn't make a mistake. The author was expressing things in a different way. The hottie said with a laugh, "Though they don't have a custom of bumping antenna, humans have many ways of greeting each other." The young man asked, "For those many, which of them am I most suited for?" As the hottie thought, he looked at the young man's face, so close to his own as he awaited the answer, so focused, so adorable. So the hottie leaned down closer to his face and pressed his lips to the young man's lips. "We haven't gotten there yet." The hottie asked the young man, "Have you learned this method of expression now?" The young man froze. "You're tricking me. It's not like I don't know anything at all." The young man leaned into the hottie's arms. "Hey! This method is expressing love," the black-eyed youth said as he lightly returned the hottie's kiss. And now you can do the angry crowd because they didn't fuck. God damn it. It was all fluff. I told you this from the beginning. It's all fluff. That's the story. That was extra number 2. That's the end of extra number 2. There's no more extras. That's it. That's it. They don't fuck. The lady was still winning. Actually, no. We don't know if the dude did things with the lady. We don't know about that. Maybe I don't know. Because apparently the hottie did things to the cockroach that he hadn't done to the lady. Oh my god. Wow, that took an hour, by the way. He likes the chancla, yeah. He's a kinky little shit. That's why that there was a kinky tag in there. The tags, it said kinky in there. Cause he was into that. Cause I didn't see any sense of kinky after that. Or did you? I don't know. I didn't get a sense of kinky after that. Like, the closest we got to any action was the hottie taking his towel off. That was it. I was kind of disappointed it didn't go anywhere from there, but also I wasn't gonna read that either. Or would I have? I don't know. Probably not, because I don't want to be referenced. I don't want to be referenced. I also need to find a video editor so I can piece these together and post them on YouTube. But what did you guys think? I don't know. Had we ended at the first chapter, I would have been like depressed. Like, damn, I should not be feeling that way over a cockroach and a man. Like, now, like, I have never seen B movie, but like, had Barry B. Benson or whatever the fuck his name is had died, like, I think that's what it would have felt like. But like, the extras totally make up for it. Absolutely make up for it. Though I have to say, Extra 1 was better than Extra 2. I've never seen B movie.